So welcome to our June General HSI Working Group meeting. It's a little bit postponed. We were going to look at towards the end of May, but there was various challenges in terms of the date. So we managed to pin down this one today. And so then our next meeting will be in July next month. So just a few updates in terms of the what's going on with the working group before we have our guest speaker today, which is exciting. All right. Oh, and I should have said if there's anybody new to the HSI working group, welcome, welcome. We are keen to welcome you and team to have you join us today. My name is Grace Kennedy, and I am the chair of the INCOSE HSI working group. And I'm joined here as well by Ami and Dimitri as well, who are also my co-chairs as well. Yes. Okay, so just really quickly, I just wanted to give an update on what's going on. And as you know, we have these 6 different main functions of the working group. These are the activities that we organise, and we're all volunteers as well. So we have our main sets of different events, and that can be anything from the general meetings that you're attending, like today, through to our regional workshops, our international workshops, and our conferences as well. And then as well as other outreach events that we tend to have. And then we have outreach with other working groups and other HSI networks, which I'll talk about in a second. Then we also have the comms areas where we're looking at the new INCOSE Connect platform that's come out this year, which we're primarily using to, I guess, keep in contact, and also we're slowly but surely launching things in the library in there as well. We have training areas as well, and we're also looking to add to the library for that, and we'll have a talk coming up later in the year around a free HSI training MOOC that Israel's HSI working group have been working on. Then we have an area looking at member value, which really looks at how we keep in contact with the members and others who are interested in the mailing list, as well as really working out what we do to really support you and support the members, as it were. And then finally, we have our various products that we've been working on as well. And so some of you will know that we have a primer series that we've been working on. We have updates in terms of the chapter on HSI within the Systems Engineering Handbook. We feed into the SC Vision, and there's always opportunities, I guess, for like minds to write articles or papers if they want to as well. This time of year, we've launched an online form, and so if anybody's interested and they would like to volunteer for any activities coming up, then we're asking people to sign up within the form, and then we'll be able to then form our little sort of task force working groups. But thank you to those who have already signed up on the form. But there's a few activities that are going to be kicking off really soon in the next couple of weeks. We have HSI's regional workshops that will happen Sector 1, which I think is I think it's a Western States Conference within INCOSE that's happening later in the year in Arizona. And then we also have Sector 2, which is being led by Ricardo and will be part of MESEC in Sweden. Is it August or September, Dimitri?
It will be on the 29th of August afternoon in Europe, and then it will be followed by the conference. So the conference is on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but on the weekend we have tutorials and workshops, and the HSI Working Group will host its workshops there. It will be about writing a cost proposal, which is a program to finance a network of professionals around HSI.
Oh, so that's very worthwhile, I think.
No.
And it's a good opportunity as well to meet up in person in your region as well. There is also a big effort at the moment where we'll be planning for HSI 2027, which is next year in August, and it'll be in London. And we're going to do this very similar to what we did in 2024. We'll be joining with IEA 2027 as well. So we are about to launch the technical committee for that international conference, and so that will be coming up very soon. but please do sign up in the form or send us an email if you're not able to sign up there. There's another couple of things in terms of the products that we're working on too. So the rewrites for ISO 18152 is coming up very fast, and so I'm going to be forming the working group for that. We're looking to, because it's part of the group that does all the 94.1 human factors ergonomics type standards. We are pulling from people who are members of IEA or their umbrella organizations, but we're also looking to make INCOSE like a contributing organization too. So if there's INCOSE members who can help to support that the rewrites, then we'll be able to bring you into that group as well. And then we're finally going to be doing the primer reboots as well. And I think we've got a little bit of momentum going, and there's been quite a few people who have let me know that they're interested in joining and also signed up in the form. So it's not too late, but very soon we'll be kicking off some of these activities. And if you haven't already put your name in there, please do. Okay, so that's really a quick update on what's been going on with the HSI working group. And as part of what we've been doing in the last few months is at the general meetings, we've been having a quick update, and then we've been going into the guest speaker series. And so if I go to the next slide, give me a second. We're very excited and very honored to have Ohad Avital come and talk to us today about the work he's been doing. So I think Ami is going to give an introduction to Ohad, and then we'll go straight into the talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Grace. Welcome all. Welcome, Ohad. Ohad Avital is a Chief Product Officer, AI Center of Sheba Medical Center. Ohad is a product and technology leader with over 20 years of experience across digital health and cybersecurity. Ohad currently serves, as I said, as Chief Product Officer at Sheba Medical Center's AI Center, one of the world's leading hospital innovation hubs, where he leads the development and implementation of AI-powered clinical product at scale. Ohad joined Sheba after heading a product and technology at digital health startup. Ohad is a veteran of Unit 8200. Ohad served as a lieutenant colonel, led large multidisciplinary departments, and oversaw deep tech programs recognized with several prestigious defense awards. Ohad has funded multiple digital health initiatives and is an active member of the 8400 Health Network, a community connecting Israel's technology and healthcare ecosystem. Ohad holds a BA and a Master of Science in Computer Science, both awarded cum laude. Ohad, welcome. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Ami. Nice to meet you, everyone. Let me just tell me that you can see my screen. Yeah, are we good?
Yes.
Great.
Yes, we are.
Great. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. Nice to meet you. Nice to see you. Thank you very much, Ami and Grace, for the warm intro and the invitation to come and speak with you. We're going to spend the next 20 to 30 minutes talking about what does it mean to transform a hospital. You know, hospital is a very complex institute, and Sheba is investing a lot in order to become an AI-based hospital. And we are in the midst of this journey. And I'm going to give you just a general overview, but also practical projects and products that we are currently implementing in our vision to implement even more and more capabilities as we progress in this journey. So a little bit about Sheba. Sheba Medical Center, if not everyone is familiar, is a very big hospital. Actually, it's the largest hospital in the Middle East. It is compounded of 6 hospitals, a hospital for children, for women's health, for oncology, for rehabilitation, a general hospital, and a hospital at home. So there is a variety, it's a complex of hospitals. Usually hospitals are measured in size by number of beds. So it's 1,900 beds, 1,800 physicians. So it's a very, very large and complex hospital that treats the most complicated healthcare situations that there are. And Sheba also invests a lot in research and innovation. It's been recognized for the last 7 years in the top 10 of hospitals in the ranking of Newsweek. Last year was ranked number 7 in the world as a hospital, and also one of the world's smartest hospital. And when they measure hospitals, they measure patient satisfaction and quality of care and innovation and research. So Sheba invests a lot in those areas and has also the vision to make a global impact on healthcare and not only focus on the Israeli market and ecosystem. It's also aspiring to change the global landscape of healthcare. And we have an innovation arm called ARC that is focused on those aspects, which is a global ecosystem of hospitals that is their mission is to create a global impact on how to change and transform healthcare in order to face the challenges. And the main challenges in healthcare are enormous. And actually, healthcare is facing what we call existential challenges in quality of health, in equity, in resource efficiency, workforce shortage. And because of the aging of population and the complexity of diseases and treatments, the current situation is just not sustainable. And when we look only on financial sustainability, we can see that there is a gap in resources that is enormous. And as the years progress, the resources required will just not be sufficient enough to face those challenges. And luckily, 3.5 years ago, the AI revolution began, and Sheba recognized these capabilities or those technology as a real game changer technology in order to face and close those gaps in treatment and in resources. And I'm going to speak a little bit about our journey and how do we implement those capabilities to face those challenges. So Sheba established an AI center. Okay, so an AI center. So a lot of hospitals or research institutes are investing in AI, but Sheba did something a bit differently than other institutes, and we formed an AI center. The AI center is comprised of engineers, data scientists, researchers, product managers, clinicians, implementation. It's roughly 50 people work some kind of a startup company that is situated inside the hospital and working very closely with the clinicians and with close feedback loop and cycles with the field. And as we see AI as a potential to move on top of what we call the autonomy pyramid. So some technologies in AI are relevant for assisting and clinical decision support, but we do try to push the boundaries higher and have automation workflows being done with AI alone. This is our vision in many aspects of clinical workflows. And of course, the big challenge there is in a domain so complicated and risky like healthcare, how to do it safely, how to do it with validation and guardrails in place, but how to move fast as we can, as fast as we can in order to really close the gaps that is chasing us. So Sheba is investing a lot in the AI technologies, and now I'll give you 6 examples or 6 acts of how do we use AI in practice currently at Sheba in order to tackle those challenges. So the first act is, first give clinicians the time to be clinicians. Currently, clinicians are doing a lot of things that are not meant to be done by clinicians. Their documentation, they're chasing after tasks, they're doing administrative work, they're doing a lot of things that is not treating the patients and taking care of patients. So we have several components and capabilities and products inside the hospital that are giving the clinicians the time back. First one is what we call ambient documentation. Ambient documentation is putting a microphone inside the room of the encounter between the physician and the patient and transcribing and summarizing the whole encounter. So the physician can look at the patient in the eyes and all of the documentation is being done automatically. And using ambient documentation is currently in production at Sheba. If you come to a variety of clinics and to our several departments, you'll see microphones that are documenting the encounters. This is what is called ambient documentation. But ambient documentation is available also in other parts of the world. Sheba is trying to take this technology and put it in also other workflows, not only the one-on-one encounters, but also when a variety of clinicians talk about the patient bedside or consult, it's documenting those kind of discussions and basically remove all the burden of documenting, and because the clinician may forget what was discussed. So it's all captured and summarized automatically in the relevant medical jargon. This is a capability that is already, as I mentioned before, in production at the medical center. And the second capability, I don't know how many of you have been waiting when you were in hospital and you waited to be discharged, and you waited for a few hours just to get the discharge note. This is not because the discharge note is waiting, the clinician didn't want to write it, because he had so many other things to do, and he needed to have like 20 or 30 minutes to sit down and write the discharge note. So currently we have a capability that in one click, the clinician says, write me a discharge note. And the AI is going over all of the follow-ups and all of the tests and all of what happened during the hospitalization. And in one click, we have a discharge note draft. The clinician can review, edit if needed, and give the patient the ability to go home when he can go home safely. And this summarization capability is relevant for discharge, it's relevant for admission, it's relevant for handover, and all of those. And the challenge there is how to gain the trust of clinicians to use it, and for every sentence that we write in the discharge note, we have what we call grounding of where what was the source or reference in the original document that made the AI write it in the discharge note. So the second part, as I mentioned, is AI generated summaries. And once we have the summaries of the encounter, we can have the AI translate it to an accessible language. So the patient can get the note of what's going on with them. So every day, currently in the hospitalization department at Sheba, the patient or his family can get a note to his phone with what's going on in a language that they can understand, and be part of the treatment and instead of chasing the doctor of what's going on with my loved one, I can get a proactive note of what's the current status. And you can have it in multiple languages. So in Israel, for example, you can have it in Arabic or in Russian or in other languages. So all of those tools are currently embedded in a variety of departments in the medical center. So this is what we call Act 1. It's the first layer that we can have technology of AI help the clinicians to free their time. But as we progress to Act 2, we have a capability that tries to take a whole workflow and have it an AI workflow. And this is a system that we call Smarter. And for example, in the emergency department that we chose to start with, even though it's the most complex and intense environment in a hospital, we have a whole workflow that AI augments. So when a patient comes to the emergency department, we have a background summary of prior hospitalizations. And if you have a referral, you scan it and we have the text extracted from it. And we have all of your background ready, either for the physician or for an AI agent that will do the intake, will perform the intake with you in voice language. So all of the intake taking is also done by AI. And they ask you, why did you come? It verifies your drugs that you are taking, your allergies, all of those aspects are being done with AI. And then once you have the background and the conversational, you go into physician's room, they have all of your data, they do the physical exam, which is documented by the ambient capability that I mentioned before, and then you have a whole picture of the patient, and you can have the discharge or hospitalization note. The next level will have recommendations, clinical recommendations based on the background summary and the intake. The AI will be able to recommend which tests should be done before even you go into the physician's office. So you won't need to go back and forth. You will come to the physician, as we call it, baked, with everything in place, and then you'll be able to walk out as soon as possible. And also the physician will be able to get recommendations of which diagnosis he may have not thought about. And all of the clinical decision making will be much more effective and efficient using those capabilities. So in the smarter world of being able to have a whole workflow, we currently have in production the background summary, the ambient listening. By the end of 2026, we'll have also the conversational in practice and the recommendation. So, and then we'll have the whole workflow AI augmented, and when a patient will come to the ED, he won't notice how a workflow was before. So this is the second act of taking and building whole workflows. And when we come to the third act is about what in the world of AI, imaging capabilities are more mature. They are with us for several years, even before the LLM revolution. And I'll just give you an example of a technology that came out of Sheba. It's a company called ASAP. It's a company that was born and raised at Sheba, and now it's a company that works globally. And this company is focused on how to take the echocardiography test and enable a less trained personnel to perform it using the guidance of AI. So instead of once you need to have an echocardiography exam to go to the cardiology department and go back to the hospitalization or from the ED or whatever, you can have a small point of care capability that less trained personnel can do the exam guided by AI, and the AI will have recommendations of what should you do next and what is the situation. And this capability is transforming how echocardiography exams and heart conditions are being tested and measured. It has an FDA approval already, and it's selling globally around the world. And this is just an example of the imaging. We have, of course, a variety of companies working inside the hospital, helping triage radiology, imaging, CT, MRIs, highlight what's more severe that the radiologist should look at first. So it's a variety of imaging capabilities already working inside the hospital. So this is once you need the exam, how AI is helping you get it in the right place, in the right time, without waiting in line to get the most trained personnel to do it for you. So this is the third act. The fourth act is trying to have, instead of taking existing workflows and having AI making them more efficient and more informed by AI, is we're thinking how AI can really disrupt the current workflow, how it can revolutionize workflows because of the new capabilities that AI can bring to the table. And this is where I want you to meet Alice. Alice is what we call a native AI experience as a physician assistant or a patient's assistant. So imagine that you don't need to imagine because it's already happening if you come to Sheba. If you go to a department in Sheba, every clinician has an AI assistant working with them, and they can ask and discuss with her in natural language and ask questions about the medical chart. And medical data is very hard corpus to decode and understand. We have the labs and we have the notes and we have the imaging and we have the microbiology and we have a variety of data which is multimodal, and it has a very, very long history for some people. And how to understand what the clinician is asking in natural language and give them the right answer. It's a very, very big challenge, and we have this capability that we actually developed ourselves. And also, the AI assistant can be proactive and highlight to the doctor, hey, notice the patient in bed number 5 should get a treatment now because it monitors them. It's a guardian agent, what we call it. It's helping them to decode the relevant person, to recognize the relevant people who need treatment now. Or, hey, a specific lab test has come and it has, you should look at it. And there is a big challenge in healthcare which is called alert fatigue, and how do you reason what to highlight to the relevant clinician. So Alice is currently knows how to answer questions in natural language, but the next steps will be more proactive, and she will be able to perform tasks for the clinician and do all of the administrative work and highlight diagnoses that they didn't think about, and all of this will be a new kind of workflows. You won't need to have like a specific daily routine because it will flow more automatically and be more proactive. So this is how we vision AI clinician assistant working as part of the team. Like imagine you have 7 clinicians, 20 nurses, and 50 AI agents as part of the department staff. And they all work coherently and working together. So this is Alice, and we really imagine her changing how healthcare is being done in the hospital. So this is act number 4. Act number 5 is once the patient leaves the hospital, we have hospital at home capabilities. So why stay in a hospital if you can be treated at home? And hospital at home and remote patient monitoring are capabilities that are with us for a long time, roughly a long time. But how do you recognize out of all of the patients who can go home now? And who can go home for discharge, who can go home for hospitalization at home? So we have a system that scans all of the patients in the hospital daily, even twice a day, and reasons through their chart and says, okay, those are the patients that are stable enough, are socially, have the person to support them at home. We can treat our capabilities, know how to treat them at home. So it reasons through the chart and highlights the patients who are eligible for home hospitalization with the reasoning why we understand that they are eligible for home hospitalization. And then our hospital at home can discuss with our general hospital and have a more informed and educated discussion about which patients they can send home and treat them with all of the data associated with it. So this is the first. And the second one is once the patient is already at home, we have an AI agent checking them every day, twice a day. So instead of the nurse calling them and checking, hey, how are you? What are your vitals? Did you do well today? So we have an AI agent calling them on the phone twice a day and checking them. And the big challenge there was because of, if you remember the pyramid of autonomy, the AI agent talking to the patient is alone in the field. The medical personnel is not there. So if, for example, there will be a severe acute situation, the AI should notice it and perform a hot transfer to the human in order to intervene. So we invested a lot in all of those measurements of how do we verify that once there is an acute situation, we'll know how to highlight it and perform the transfer to the personnel that knows how to treat it. So currently we have, for people who are hospitalized at home, an agent that calls them twice a day and knows how to recognize those situations and if there is a situation, to transfer to the relevant call center of nurses that knows how to react in real time. So this is another capability that we are very proud of. And there are a lot of opportunities of having the conversation, like, for example, pre-operation, to make sure that you are prepared instead of the nurse calling you and checking, making sure that you understand. We have a lot of opportunities to make those workflows much more efficient, based on the ability to have an agent that can call the patients at home and verify all of those readiness aspects, how do they feel, and to make sure that they are doing the relevant tests before they come to the operation. It's endless, the potential there. And my last act is what we call the more deep research capabilities. And there are in hospital, you have a very, very vast corpuses of data, in the imaging, in labs, in the genomics, in clinical notes. Sheba is paperless for more than 20 years. So all of this data is being generated, and it's a very, very relevant area for deep research, in order to create better decision making and better treatments to patients. And a very unique research that Sheba announced almost a year ago is a collaboration with Mount Sinai Hospital in New York and NVIDIA, in order to decode the human genome. So the human genome has currently known 2% of the human genome knows how is it decoded into RNA and proteins, and how does it impact the cells. But there are other 98% of genome that is there in the DNA, that we don't really know how does it impact our diseases and diagnostics and treatments. And we are taking this challenge of how to decode the rest of the 98% it doesn't decode for RNA and protein, in order to discover new pathways for disease preventions, diagnostics, and treatments. And this is based on many DNA sequencing data that we have, a lot of compute and algorithmics, that how do we use AI and the new models of LLM in order to decode those areas of the genome. And this is one example for a deep research capability that Sheba is investing a lot in, with partners, of course. And we believe that the AI can have, like in this example, a lot of opportunities of how to make treatments more accessible, more personalized to patients, and then hence more effective in order to prevent diseases and treat them. And our ultimate goal is what we call Sheba Negev. And Sheba is building a new hospital in the southern part of Israel. And this is a real opportunity to create and build a new hospital from the ground up that will be an AI native hospital. And once we'll have this infrastructure in place, we'll be able to really, instead of taking AI and trying to push it and embed it in existing workflow, which will be it is very, very difficult, because there are a lot of current workflows and culture and processes. But once you try to build it from the ground up as an AI native hospital, it has a very, very unique opportunities of how the processes and even the infrastructure and the buildings look different because the AI is embedded as part of the all of the workflows. So Sheba Negev, in our vision, will be a fully AI-based hospital. We plan it nowadays. It's supposed to be open in 6 years from now, and this is our North Star of advancing and transforming healthcare and really building an AI-based hospital as a model of how a hospital can look once AI is built into it naturally. So this is me, and I'm opening to questions if you have any. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ohad.
Thanks.
Questions?
I've got a question. I was just wondering so we often think about human variability, and so my question is really around how do you mitigate for biases in your training set? So I know famously a few years ago they had issues, say, with looking at melanoma on different tones of skin complexion. So are you building in like additional data collection areas to build those sets and train them? How do you deal with this sort of the variability of humans, in diagnostics?
Sure, great question. Yeah, so of course, whenever we train a model ourselves, we put the biases and the variety of data sources as part of how we plan. Actually, Sheba has a unique collaboration also with Mayo Clinic platform. Mayo Clinic is the I think #1 in the world hospital in the US. And it's built a consortium of hospitals that's sharing anonymized data between those hospitals, and this will enable the research to be done on a variety of data sources. So it's, if I recall correctly, 8 hospitals sharing their de-identified data. So all of the researchers will be able to have access to not only local data sources, but also global data sources from variety of ethnicities and different kind of people. So this is kind of one solution that we have for this kind of challenge, but sometimes we have ad hoc collaborations with specific hospitals in order to make sure that our data is representing enough variability.
Avigdor? We can't hear you, Avigdor. You have to unmute yourself.
Thank you, Ohad, for your impressive lecture. It was not only impressive, but frightening, because we look for the human side, and now we see that the machine will replace us. Okay, but I have more. We are doing now in the Technion a research for the 2nd year in Rambam in the Children's Center for Intensive Care about the processes there. We're trying to bring AI and model-based system engineering to prevent errors in the treatment or prevent the drifting from the right processes. What we found in the first stage that the nurses and even the doctors not always follow the processes that is written in the standard. We're trying to help them through AI and model-based system engineering, and we are in approaching to this. First of all, do you think that what you have done in Sheba, that is very impressive, can be also be interested to complement what you have done about what you have described us in your fine lecture, with also to look about this issue of lowering the number of errors or drifting from the right processes, because we are dealing with healthcare. Healthcare, it is not only dealing with the people and knowing what he have said and so on, what he have writes. So I would like your comment about it.
Sure. So first of all, I'll touch what you mentioned about frightening, and it's an issue, right? It's an issue about what machines will do, what the humans will do in the future. In variety of professions. Uh, as I mentioned at the beginning, we really feel that if we won't do it, it will be much riskier and much more severe. The situation will be much more severe, and we need to balance the autonomy and its effect also training of personnel. That if AI is doing so many things, we have the AI Academy and we have the medical training. And if junior clinicians won't learn because the AI will do some things, how will they become seniors? It's a lot of aspects there that we are also dealing with ethics, and all of those aspects are very, very predominant also in our discussions. Regarding your second question, yes, so definitely, I just gave you a taste of things that we are doing. There are other things that we are doing, and of course, verifying that the relevant protocols and there are no errors in the processes. You need to first understand, as we see, the reason why is it happening, and because they are not familiar with the relevant protocols, or they don't have enough time, or they are not trained enough, or the processes around so this is what we say. Because we are inside the hospital, I have the people that work with me in the departments, understanding the workflows in depth, and understanding the root cause for the challenge and how AI can treat it, can leverage them. So we are open to any other aspects of collaboration that there is.
Okay.
Of course, medical errors are a very big challenge in healthcare. Actually, I think it's one of the causes for mortality in hospitals or medical errors. So it's a very, very interesting topic.
So maybe we'll share with you our report on our research up to now, and you see what we can adapt or be interested, because I think it is complementary, as you have said, to what I feel that all the communication with the customers, with the staff, healthcare staff, but there is also processes and so it can complement, and also it uses AI, and we use also twin how we call it, digital twin.
Digital twins.
Yeah. I forgot for a minute. I'm a human. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
Ohad.
I have another question, but related to the last few minutes of talk, but there is a question by Deepa Ganesh.
Yes, yes.
We cannot see you. Is it?
Oh, yes, I can. I can turn it on. I think it's yes.
Very good.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. I have a couple of few questions. I think especially One is in the data models. Then I come to this question. So all these models are they primarily on the commercial foundation model or open source model, or the trained internally by Sheba? Because you just mentioned NVIDIA, some of them. So you must have a huge amount of data. So how you're working with the data models, then how do you balance the patient's privacy with the need of training, train increasingly the capable model? So those are the questions I have. Then I come to this question.
Sure. So basically, based on the use case, we choose whether to use the commercial foundation models or to fine-tune them or to train the model ourselves. So some of the use cases we're using the commercial models, of course, with the anonymized data that is usually as part, or we have a HIPAA compliance and all of those privacy aspects in place. And in NVIDIA, for example, we are training our own models, and then of course we have again, we measure the security and privacy boundaries, and some of them we train on premise, some of them we train on the local private cloud. So it's all of the infrastructure that we are building around it in order to also support the privacy of the patients. So for NVIDIA, for example, it's a data that we train our own foundation model. Some of the others are commercial. And, it's also always a trade-off of whether the commercial models are becoming so strong these days. And if you make them focused on the relevant aspects, and we really do see the great potential of using also them. Sheba has a lot of data, right? So it's also a very very big resource that we can leverage in order to make sure that it's more focused on the relevant patient and the patients that we have, especially in multimodal, imaging plus labs plus nodes. So it's very unique data inventory that we have. It's helping us to shape the models accordingly.
That's very interesting. Another question, and you, I just mentioned that is like you showed a progression towards a greater autonomy. So the question is, what is the highest level of clinical autonomy you realistically expect to achieve within 5 to 10 years? Or because we talk about 2035 is everything is going to be changed. Do you have a roadmap or planning?
Yeah, so our vision, as I mentioned before, is to push the boundaries, right? So I believe that it will be gradual, that if the machine will, it will begin with administrative work, right? But at the end, you'll have like a dosing of medications and deciding of medication treatments. I don't see the medication capabilities being fully automated in the upcoming 5 years. But eventually, with the relevant guardrails, like for example, I think I heard that a specific hospital in the US is doing a specific trial about chronic conditions in prescription renewals, right? So I don't know how many of you are consuming drugs on a regular basis, but sometimes the clinician is you need to call them in order to renew your prescription for the next 3 months, and he's not doing a lot, right? So these parts, I think it's already, even though it's in the medication domain, renewing regular prescriptions, at least, without a human in the loop, can be done, at least, on a yearly basis you need to review, but basically it's not a lot of, and you can have the relevant balances and checks, right, to make sure that the last blood tests are not indicating some kind of new a condition that you cannot take this drug. But realistically, I really believe that the progress will be gradual, but it will bring us to higher level of autonomies on a lot of workflows. Maybe not the hardest ones, but it will.
Yeah. So I have another question. It's like you just mentioned about the regulation. So the question, what's the biggest obstacles preventing AI from becoming a true clinical teammate today? Is either technology or regulation, trust, or workflow integration? Because most of the time, I feel we don't have regulations and or sometimes the workflow integration. So are you preparing all of these for your future roadmap?
Yes. So as you mentioned, there are many challenges in order to get the real AI as part of your team. Some of them are technical. There are a lot of legacy systems in the hospital that you need to connect to if you want to order a consultation or a lab test or imaging test. So a lot of integration with legacy systems is one challenge. There is the culture and the adaptiveness of the clinical team. Some people are used to work in the same way for 30 years, and now to try to have a new workflow in their department is not that easy. The younger people are usually more adaptive because they are born into those kind of capabilities, and in terms of regulation, it's very interesting. The world is balancing and dancing with the AI capability back and forth. There is a new regulation in Europe, the AI Act, that is very, very, I think, risk averse about AI. In the US, it's more open a bit. In Israel, we have our Ministry of Health and our own even regulation. And it will be like part of what I mentioned before. If a clinician reviews, it's kind of easy to review when you come to the autonomy areas, it will be harder. And for example, when I mentioned the example of the AI calling the patient at home alone, we needed to have a rigorous testing and validation. And the first implementation is right after the AI is calling the patient, the clinician is listening to the conversation right after. So it's a lot of boundaries and guardrails in place. But once the systems will be more stable, like other capabilities, you'll be able to have a report for the FDA or CE certification in Europe, and will be granted approval for usage. So it will take time, the regulation, and Sheba is trying, as I mentioned before, to balance the risks and the opportunities, because there are a lot of opportunities.
It's really interesting because I'm working for AI related, but it's mostly the autonomous area, collision avoidance, and many different other sectors. But the regulations and the ISO standards are still improving. So are you involved in any particular ISO standards? It's like all AI related stuff are in 42006 and 9. So are you involved in ISO related regulations, or do you use a special, is there any other regulation standards you use?
Yes, so we are around, we in the capabilities that we're building for Sheba and for Israel, we are bounded by the Israeli regulations, and we have guidance. When we are spinning out companies, they of course need to follow the regulations of the local market that they are selling in, and then they are investing in it. As far as I know, we are not involved in establishing the standards of regulation. We are involved in variety of global committees, but I'm not sure that we are involved in it, Sheba, in regulations of AI globally and autonomy.
Sure. Thank you so much. I just let others to
Sure.
ask question. I have so many questions to ask, but I don't want to take my
Great
steal the
questions.
time.
Great
Thank you.
questions. I
Thank you.
wish that we could have some additional connection and meetings regarding that.
Sure.
We have now questions of Tanvir and then Galit. And I see that Ricardo, you wrote some comment or question, and even myself. So please, Tanvir. Tanvir Muhammad Uzair, if I properly pronounce the name.
I think he left already because we are close to the end of time.
Okay, so Galit.
Hi, thank you. I will be following on Deepa's questions about the regulations. So lately, the FDI has published a draft about usability in medical embedded AI devices. And one of the guidance is if we previously tested the device capabilities and the person capabilities operating the device, now the regulation states to test the human AI man-machine teaming, so person-machine teaming. And I was wondering, what is your approach? Do you test it? Do you do some usability testing in-house to test trust or reliance, things like that?
Yes. So I mentioned it a bit in what I talked before. So as you said, it's all about the interaction between the user and how do you embed AI in the workflows and how do you gain trust of the user or the clinician. We have several mechanisms that we embed in the systems that we in the user experience and in the interaction. As I mentioned, we have like for every sentence we have the reference in the system that the clinician can look and verify in order to gain trust. We have in every recommendation or output that we are putting, we have like a thumbs up slash thumbs down and a comment that you can say, you can give us feedback. We are, as I mentioned before, we are working very, very closely with the clinicians and we see the interaction. Sometimes you can see some clinicians are trusting and doing nothing, which may cause it causes us sometimes concerns because they are not verifying and not using the mechanisms that we are building. And some of them are, don't give me any recommendation, just give me the relevant data and I'll decide for myself. So it's like a variety, it's about seniority and culture and time that you have and maturity. So it's very varying a lot between different users. But we definitely invest a lot in the interaction because it's not AI autonomy it's the final frontier, but we'll get there in many years. Up until then, we'll have a lot of interactions between human and how do you decide what the human does and what the machine does. There is also a concept we call juniorosity. How do you make a junior more capable based on AI? So instead of having only the most senior personnel making the decision, if a nurse plus AI can take decisions, how does it change the relevant roles and responsibilities within a department? So it's very, very complex. It changes the whole atmosphere and the culture and workflows. And as you said before, it's not that easy to perform this kind of revolution for many aspects. And
Thank
it's a
you.
lot of responsibility. Yes. Thanks.
Ricardo?
Oh, I'm I'm sorry because didn't get just capturing the zeitgeist, so to speak. But I think my point is there is a shift. So picking my comment on beer, I think there is a shift, a point that if your tool provides you a certain degree of consistency of results, I don't think is ethical in the long term to expect the human to be there to capture the outliers, because then it will probably, the workforce skill will just vanish. We see this in aviation a little bit with, pilots that are so comfortable or dependent on automation that, if certain parts of the automation are not there, they are not up to the task if they face a very difficult event. And what I'm mostly concerned about as a citizen or a practitioner or thinking about is that many of these contexts, these things interplay with each other. How do you build the experience that allows you to discern? And these have a lot of invisible stuff interacting. And so I think some effects, bad effects, you only see after long-term operational exposure. You don't see it in the amount of, pilots, whatever, that we are going to observe.
No.
And then
Hello.
what I'm afraid is that the organizational knowledge, because organizations embody knowledge through their people, through their practices, they are gone and you cannot get them back. It will be very costly. So that's a key concern. And the other one is, what type of people are we interacting with? For instance, in the I did not fully understand the concern about AI impersonating people and so on, until my mother, which has Alzheimer, complained. She needed to communicate the electrical reading to the electrical company, and this is not AI. It's just a normal, press 1, press 2. And she was speaking with the telephone. She was really upset because she was speaking. The lady does not understand me. I complain. She does not answer. And our population is getting ever older. So the baseline is shifting in the relationship. So I think interesting times, some stuff is unavoidable. But I think regulatory, take your foot out of the speed, out of the accelerated, the risk proportional, I think it's good to have friction in the process, because we need time to adapt and understand. The velocity of, safe responsible introduction of technologies is a human velocity. It's velocity of humans and how humans work with each other. It's not the velocity of electrons, bits and bytes. So that's my overall comment. Sorry if I was not overly specific, but is something that, it disquiets me.
Thank you. Now I have a question. In fact, I had two questions, but in terms of time, I will not elaborate. Training. I will not ask about training. I think that there is enormous capability using that, but what bothers me more is what we call the medical errors. And now when we introduce the AI, What drives the question is, did we do or are we doing some risk management process? We remember autonomous cars. We remember the machine decision that caused death. We remember Boeing 737 MAX that we in the Israeli group learned a few years ago. And there are many, many other causes of failures. The fact that 8 hospitals, largest hospitals in the world, combine data makes me a bit more comfortable, because we train the model with much more information. But I do remember bugs that we had. In fact, we have in this group now 2 of my past colleagues in the aviation or airborne systems, and Ricardo also comes from the same domain. We cannot allow the risk to go over the well accepted 10 by the -7 to 10 by the -9 risk of commercial aviation. So what do you have any message to us? Do you have any can you share with us? Don't worry, we are doing risk management. Don't worry, in 1 year or 2 years we will have the same group convene and we will inform or educate all of us in the achievements. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So, as you're probably familiar, healthcare is very, very reliant on research and evidence-based medicine, right? So, a lot of our capabilities are informed with the relevant research capabilities that the AI is enabling to interact with and gain the relevant knowledge from the relevant research. And in addition, at Sheba, we are performing research. We don't deploy it and forget about it. We are having a randomized controlled trials on specific groups, having the human or variety of judges challenge the AI or being compared to AI and checking the results. So it's rigorous and it's validated through clinical research as we build those capabilities and validate them. We have also automatic validation with data science and evaluations of the models and their performance. So all of those areas are being really, really much tested, evaluated, researched in order to reduce the risk. And I'd say as a complementary, the unknown is the current risks that are in the systems that are not visible. And this is the complementary things. But in terms of how do we validate and make sure that we reduce the risk of AI as much as possible, there are a variety of mechanisms that we are embedding into the processes and the procedures that we are doing in order to tackle this.
Thank you so much, Ohad.
Sure.
I'm sure that I will approach you with thousands of questions. And Grace, I'm very thankful for the opportunity. And please, over to you.
Thank you.
Yep. I think thank you so much, Ohad, and Amy as well, for hosting and fielding questions, and for everyone who's joined us today. It was a good discussion, lots of questions, which means that it was very interesting. We all want to ask more. But yeah, just put a couple of things in the chat. There's a link to the volunteer sign-up form in case anyone missed at the beginning of the meeting. And then finally, we have recorded this, and I think, Ohad, we have your permission. We will be loading this up onto our INCOSE Connect site. And also we have a new YouTube channel. We'll be loading that up as well and making that accessible to everyone and those who couldn't make the meeting today. But yeah, so thank you everyone for coming. And yeah, we'll see you again after IS in July. Yes. All right. Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Congrats.
Thank you.